GBC News, the headlines. Maximum coverage of tonight's solar eclipse now just minutes away. GBC brings you live images. A new generator at air traffic control promises less disruption to flights from power cuts. A shipwreck worth billions prompts calls for Britain to claim 12 nautical miles around the rock. And it's Beach Wednesday. Gibraltar today hears from regulars down at the Gwari. Good evening, thanks for joining us. All eyes are on the skies right now, or they will be very soon. A partial solar eclipse currently underway. At its peak, which is just minutes away now, 93% of the sun will be obscured by the moon, an unusual and somewhat eerie sight over the Bay of Gibraltar. Recent days have seen people queuing to get protective glasses, a reminder not to look directly at the eclipse without these. Many have gathered this evening at some of the best possible vantage points around the rock. Our reporter Michael Beltrán is at one of these. He's down at Camp A and he joins us live. Michael, how's it looking?
Yes, Ian, good evening. We're down here at Camp A, which when we arrived just after 7 o'clock was a sweltering Camp A. A lot of people have been enjoying a lovely day here at the beach, but I have to tell you now that the partial solar eclipse is underway. The temperature has dropped and it is slightly cooler now, and we did know that that was going to happen as a result of the partial eclipse happening here in Gibraltar and also in parts of Europe, and particularly in Spain, where they are getting a total eclipse in the north of the country. In fact, their first in over a century, according to a report that I was reading earlier today as well in The Guardian. But here we're getting a partial eclipse because of where Gibraltar is. We're going to get about 93% at its peak. And you can already tell that the light has dimmed here. It was a lot brighter a little moment ago, just before we came on air. There is a buzz here at Camp A. A lot of people have been taking out their eclipse glasses and have been observing the eclipse. We saw those big queues earlier today as people were queuing up. There has really been a eclipse fever in Gibraltar in the last 24 hours or so. And I've got my pair here as well, as does my cameraman Max De Soysa. We've been having a look every now and then. I'm going to take them. This didn't work in rehearsal, so we're going to try this live now. And it is a pretty incredible sight right now. You can see the crescent look now as the partial eclipse really enters its main point. And our cameraman as well, Darryl Bias, is also supplying us with a live shot of that eclipse so that you at home can see what it looks like with a safety filter as well. Now, of course, you shouldn't look directly at the sun. That is the advice that we've been receiving. And even with the eclipse glasses, not to look at it for too long because it will cause damage. And it's incredible to think that a celestial body like the sun, which is 93 million miles away, 150 million kilometers away, can still cause such damage that far away. But that is how it goes. That is the science of it. And we're going to be here throughout the entirety of the bulletin. We'll be back in just a few minutes with William Pagano, the president of the Astronomical Society, who's going to go more in depth about it, going to tell us a little bit more about what this eclipse means, and we're also going to be looking ahead to our total eclipse, which happens next year. I can already feel that cool sea breeze that's coming in now, which was not there half an hour ago as a result of that incredible eclipse. What an event that is happening here in Gibraltar. There is a buzz that here at Camp A, and people are really, really enjoying it. So before we talk to William, we're going to hear more about eye safety, and we're going to hear more about that from earlier today in GT.
Yep, it's safety first, and as we've heard many times, we'll repeat it once more for your benefit. Looking directly at the sun without proper protection will cause serious and permanent damage to your eyes. Consultant Dr. Barmak Zadeh from the eye department at the GHA told Kellyanne Borge the dangers of looking at the eclipse without protective glasses.
What happens usually in every eclipse is that many people think that since there's not much light coming from the covered sun, because the sun is covered by the moon partially, they think that it's not dangerous because there's not much light. They feel brave and they can look at it. No, because not all light is visible. So there are rays of light coming from the sun, which are called ultraviolet lights, which are extremely dangerous for your vision. And the thing which I think is more important for my presence here is to stress that even a few seconds of looking at the sun during an eclipse can be dangerous for you.
Just how serious can the damage be?
Well, very, very serious. So basically, what happens is that if you look at an eclipse without protection glasses, what happens is that you have damage to the retina of your eye, which is the most delicate area of your eye. And it's called solar retinopathy, or solar maculopathy, which is basically the central part of vision. And also the problem with this eclipse, looking at eclipses, is that you don't feel any pain. Many people feel that they would realize if they're having damage. No, but the damage is happening silently. So the advice is not to look at the eclipse at any time without protective glasses. You can enjoy looking at the eclipse with solar glasses. Obviously, don't exaggerate for more than a few minutes at a time, even with glasses. And you shouldn't even glance at the eclipse for a second without the glasses. That's the main message.
You said that the damage can happen not immediately, but over the space of a few days or perhaps even longer.
Yes.
So what kind of symptoms would people be looking out for?
So when you look at the eclipse, you might not notice anything for the first few days even, and you won't notice any pain. But after a few days, you start seeing blurred, and you may see distorted. You may see some flashes also, and that is usually it happens after a few days, but it can even happen after a month.
Wow.
And sometimes the damage cannot be detected. It can be subliminal damage, which might be detected a few years after the event even. Sometimes the eye can recover after a few months. But basically there is no cure for solar maculopathy, unfortunately. So that's why we are so adamant on the prevention for this disease.
And with that safety advice firmly in mind, we now return to our reporter, Michael Beltrán. He's down at Camp Bay with the president of the Astronomical Society, Willy Regaño.
Yes, that's right, Ian. I'm here with William Regaño, who joins me now. William, this is quite the spectacular event happening here in Gibraltar. What do you make of it?
Well, I thought the gods were against us and we were going to have the Levante. Lucky, you can see, and I think you've broadcast that, the temperature's gone down. Our shadows are a bit eerie, and overall it's gone darker, and we can even smell the freshness of the sea. So that's an experience itself. You won't see that every day. Even the Levante, you can't even feel the Levante.
It's true, it's almost turned into a bit of a poniente day in a sense. The reason that this is happening is pretty extraordinary. I was talking to Dr. Dominic Galliano as well, who's from the Science Society, expert as well. He was telling me that there is a particular reason why this is being able to happen now, the size of the moon, the positioning of it, and why we're getting this happening now.
Yeah, it's a ratio with the 400 rim of the sun and the distance of the sun, and it's called cosmological coincidence. And from that we get this, the size of the moon and the size of the sun coincide. In this respect, it's a partial. In the north of Spain, they're getting a total, so we'll be totally obscured.
And as we're talking just now, this is now peak time. We've reached at this moment in time. Yeah, so I mean, how rare is this, and how likely are we to see something like this again? I mean, I know we're getting the full eclipse next year.
We get 1 to 2 eclipses, if we're lucky, not in Europe, on the world in itself, a year. So it's not something you get 3 eclipses on the same continent in Europe And especially in Spain, they're lucky. They're getting 2 full eclipses, one this year, right now, and one next year in the south, an annual eclipse the following year. So that is rare. That you won't see. This is the last, the full eclipse in Egypt was 200 odd years ago, which I had an excerpt from the Chronicle. A traveler that came to Gibraltar, and he actually drew about the eclipse. It was a wet day, it was a terrible day. So I managed to extract that from the Chronicle. So it's that long since we had a full. They're rare. You won't see this one and the next one in your lifetime.
That's pretty incredible. And as president of the Astronomical Society, I mean, for you personally, what is it like to experience something like this?
I've been now president 35 years. Next year's the 40th anniversary of the Gibraltar Astronomical Society, which will coincide with the eclipse, the total eclipse. It's something amazing. I knew this was going to happen years back because, you know, you've got the almanacs, the astronomical almanacs, we can predict millions of years forward. I thought I wasn't going to be here because I haven't taken care of myself. You got 65, I'm 65 now. I'm watching this one, hopefully I'll be here for the 66th birthday. I never thought I would be here. And for me personally, as a person, it's something incredible. I've got my daughter here, my grandson, and it's something that you'll keep forever. That's something you'll never forget.
We want to mention as well, next year, it's a big deal. Gibraltar will be at the epicenter. Why is that? Why are we where you want to be for the total eclipse?
Well, we are lucky. The cone, the heavy shadow of the moon blocking the sun comes through Gibraltar. So San Roque, Algeciras, La Línea will get the full. Marbella won't, and there's a difference with a full and a partial. It's not the same. And it'll go straight into the northern part of Africa, into Egypt. So Europe will not get a full. We are lucky in this zone, Campo de Gibraltar, that we will get the full. Nobody else will. And it's a rare one. It'll be 4 minutes darkness. So you're talking about complete darkness, birds not singing or chirping or flying, probably bats going through, so nocturnal animals will follow, and there'll be, it's strange, it's weird. I've never been in a total one, but from what I've read from people that have been, it's a life-changing thing. It is.
And I just wanted to mention as well that this evening there's another astronomical event happening, the Perseids meteor shower as well. Very late at night, early in the morning, but tell us for those who might want to stay up and catch it.
Yeah, it's a double whammy. Normally I come out in GBC, you've done interviews nearly every year about the Perseids meteor shower. Sometimes it's been a whitewash, sometimes because of the Levanta, because it's in the heightened season of humidity, and it's between the 12th and the 16th we get a Perseid. Between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock, it's a peak. The thing is...
In the morning?
In the morning, yeah, to specify. We have a new moon, as you can see, otherwise we wouldn't be able to watch the eclipse. And it should be quite good because it's the comet, Swift-Tuttle comet, which has left this debris from its corona into the Earth's atmosphere. It's burning down. It should be a very good one.
Excellent. Well, William, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
We will be back here again, no doubt, next year for the big one. I remember we talked about this 9 years ago, and you said 2027 there's a total eclipse coming, and I couldn't even fathom 2027 then.
If I can add something, this has been planned. We have that one we are planning with the government, and that one we will have a big event, a really big event.
Yeah, and that one's in the morning. That'll be at 10 in the morning.
At 10 in the morning, yeah.
We'll look forward to that. Thank you very much, William Precaño, for that. We're still down here. Everyone's still watching it. The sun is setting. It will be disappearing behind those mountains very, very soon. But for now, people are still enjoying the eclipse.
Thanks, Michael. Plenty of fun down at the Guadi. Now for some non-eclipse related news. We will be going back to the Cambay. We're also going to have a clever little insert in the corner of the screen where you can track. We'll be showing you the eclipse as it passes over. Elsewhere now, a new generator is operational at RAF Gibraltar down at the airport following a power cut in June, which led to the cancellation of an EasyJet flight and disruption at the airport. The territory-wide outage in June affected essential air traffic control equipment, forcing flight operations to be suspended.
Although electricity was restored across Gibraltar before the EasyJet flight was due to arrive, operations at the airport remained paused, and the flight was unable to land. At the time, the government said the airport terminal itself had remained operational on backup power, with the suspension of flights caused by an issue affecting air traffic control. The incident prompted questions over why existing backup systems had not allowed flights to resume, particularly following MOD assurances that work was underway to make airfield infrastructure and power supplies more resilient. A second Gibraltar-wide power outage on the 26th of June again resulted in flight operations being temporarily paused. In answer to GBC questions, British Forces Gibraltar says backup systems worked as intended during the June outages, keeping essential ATC and safety systems running. However, it says the backup systems are not designed to keep the entire airfield operating indefinitely during a prolonged Gibraltar-wide power cut. The MOD says that although electricity had been restored before the EasyJet flight was scheduled to arrive on the 11th of June, restoring power was only one of several things that had to happen before flights could land safely. It says necessary safety, technical and operational checks still had to be completed before the airfield could reopen. It also explains that decisions on whether an aircraft continues to Gibraltar or diverts elsewhere are made before its scheduled arrival, based on information available at the time, and following discussions between ATC, the aerodrome operator, and the aircraft captain. The MOD says a new dedicated generator that was being commissioned at the time of the June disruptions is now operational. It says this will make critical infrastructure, including key airfield and radar systems, more resilient during power cuts. However, the MOD hasn't specified how long its backup systems are designed to keep air traffic control operating. It says safety remains the overriding priority.
A shipwreck near Gibraltar, believed to be carrying £5.5 billion worth of gold, has prompted calls for Britain to claim the 12 nautical miles around the rock. Leaked diplomatic papers from the 2000s have revealed that Britain abandoned plans to salvage the HMS Sussex, which sank in the 17th century so not to upset Spain. The Daily Telegraph reports that the wreck site lies in international waters just east of Gibraltar. Conservative MP Sir David Davis told the paper that Britain should finally exercise its rights under international law to extend the territory and allow the recovery operation to go ahead. In answer to GBC questions, the Chief Minister said, "We have long called on the UK to claim these 12 nautical miles."
It could be the largest treasure trove in marine history. HMS Sussex, the Royal Navy's flagship, was believed to be carrying 10 tons of gold to the Duke of Savoy, a British ally in the 9 Years' War, as part of an effort to secure his support against France. But after stopping in Gibraltar in February 1694, the ship was struck by a violent storm and sank, with most of its 550 crew perishing. Fast forward to 2001, and Odyssey Marine Exploration announced it was virtually certain it had located the wreckage, its hoard now worth an estimated £5.5 billion. The company signed a salvage agreement with the British government, but the project soon became the subject of diplomatic tensions between London and Madrid. Spain did not recognise Gibraltar waters and believed the shipwreck could be one of its own, despite the Telegraph reports there being no evidence of this. One of the cables revealed that in 2005, the then Spanish Culture Minister Carmen Calvo said the search would go ahead over her dead body. According to confidential cables released by WikiLeaks, the dispute was damaging wider relations with Madrid. Dame Denise Holt, the then British deputy head of mission in Madrid, said it was causing an unnecessary threat to Britain's relationship with Spain, as well as on Gibraltar issues. Efforts were made to terminate the agreement, and instructions were issued not to assist Odyssey when it next sailed from Gibraltar. The agreement eventually expired. The Telegraph says the location of the wreckage is east of Gibraltar in international waters. While international law allows for coastal states to claim up to 12 nautical miles, Britain has only ever claimed 3 as Gibraltar territorial waters. Former Odyssey members told the Telegraph they had urged Britain to extend Gibraltar's territorial waters so that it could continue its salvage operation, but was told ministers did not want to provoke Spain. The project's marine archaeologists told the Telegraph the Spanish patrol boats would terrorise those working on the salvage operation at every opportunity. Former Conservative Cabinet Minister Sir David Davis told the paper Britain should finally exercise the rights available to it under international law. In the past, Fermin Picardo has stated that Gibraltar's territorial waters are 3 nautical miles, based on historical and legal precedent, and that this is the limit the UK is prepared to defend, given the political and geopolitical realities. He acknowledged that international law allows for up to 12 nautical miles, but in practice this is not feasible for Gibraltar due to the proximity of neighbouring countries, and also Spain's non-recognition of Gibraltar's waters. More recently, the government made the following representation to the Overseas Territories and Crown Dependencies Ministers' Council. An increase in the designated territorial waters on the east side of Gibraltar to 12 nautical miles would greatly facilitate the implementation of environmental management plans and enhance our conservation efforts at a regional scale. Could Gibraltar's new relationship with the European Union open the door to a fresh discussion over its territorial waters? If so, it could potentially unlock a £5.5 billion fortune.
You're watching GBC News. Still to come, more from the Eclipse. We'll be heading back to Camp Bay to hear some from those who gathered there this evening to watch. And Camp Bay was also the site of this week's Beach Wednesdays. Gibraltar Today catches up with Gwadi regulars. Back in just a few minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, the site of this week's Beach Wednesday, Camp Bay, is one of Gibraltar's favourite swimming spots, not just a popular vantage point for eclipses, as we've been seeing tonight. From beach libraries to general maintenance and explaining what to expect from the skies tonight, Gibraltar Today was live from the Gwadi.
You can expect the temperature will drop a degree or 2. The sky will go darker, it will go fainter, it'll be like a hazy dusk thing.
An early twilight, it would be like having an earlier sunset and then sunset. It will be, there will still be a lot of light getting through. It will not be dark as some animations have been produced which have not been very accurate. There will still be a lot of light, but it will be strange. It will not have the effects of a total eclipse, but it will be a very strange light.
Your shadow. Look at your shadow when it's 93%.
When you look at the budget, there's a lot of expenses that go towards equipment, buying new gear, replacing part of the infrastructure. But I think from the GST perspective, and most of the criticisms that we find from beachgoers is kind of just the small things, the general maintenance, the general upkeep. So if you take a look around, we're here in Camp Bay, and I just, as I said before, it's my go-to beach, but I just gave a little walk around just to kind of refresh myself with the facilities, and you can see like the paint on the floor is coming off. It needs a kind of a relick. The iron gates which protect the park are being rusty. The actual park facilities look kind of old and tired, and some are even worn and chipped. The pools have been closed for maintenance in middle of June when bathing season had already started. So there's kind of small maintenance aspects that I think would go a long way to making the beach a lot more enjoyable for everyone here in Gibraltar. And that's not something that we think is going to be one of the largest expenses. It's not machinery, it's not personnel, it's not new facilities, it's just kind of the small things. And I think that these can be done a lot better, quite frankly.
So encouraging reading is, of course, something that GCS feels very strongly about. How do you feel children are reacting to the mini library so far? Children and adults alike.
Yeah, so the public, they've really enjoyed those mini libraries. I mean, we've had a great response. Everyone's taking care of them, which is, a big plus. You put anything out into the public for free, and there's always that kind of concern of how the public will treat the libraries. But yeah, really good response so far, and we're really happy with it. It's our first year that we've introduced this. It's been on our cards for a long time, but the logistics, we've never gone around to it. So yeah, really, really happy with the response.
How have the logistics worked? Is this kind of supported by the library? Are the books coming from there, or are people donating books?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a free-for-all. The library stock them and restock them. We restocked it yesterday. And yeah, the public are encouraged to kind of take a book, leave a book. And it's just a nice free way of making literature accessible to people and to make it sustainable as well. You don't have to buy a new book every time you want to read it. The library, we have a public library for that. And especially for kids, it's great to kind of say, okay, we see that you're getting a little bit restless, so let's read a book, let's read a funny story. And yeah, it's great.
Kaden, how old are you?
10.
And how often do you come to Camp Bay?
Like every summer.
Every summer? Every day?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Not every single day, but most usually in the summer.
Yeah?
Most of the days, yeah.
What, from morning till late at night? You must have loads of fun then.
Usually at 8 we arrive.
Yeah.
8 or 9, and then we stay until like 7.
So who do you like playing with when you're here?
My cousins and my friends.
Yeah, and what do you do?
I usually am there in the Kalpa, but I go in the sea as well.
Yeah.
And I jump off the pier.
So if anyone is not a fan of Camp Bay, or they don't normally come here, what would you say to them? Why is it the best beach or the best place to swim, do you think?
It has lots of interactive stuff, like the pitch. Not a lot of beaches have that. I mean, there's beaches that have that, but not a lot. And the park as well, and the pools.
And good news, Eclipse fans, we're returning now to Camp Bay just before sunset, and when the partially covered sun will dip below the horizon. Our reporter Michael Beltran is joined by astronomy enthusiast Richard Pitaluga.
Yes, Ian, we're here down at Camp Bay still, where there's still a buzz in the air as we enjoy that eclipse that is now kind of coming to an end, really. We got that crescent design that is still happening, but it is now happening on the other side of the sun as the moon passes across the sun and that eclipse comes to an end. And there's been a lovely atmosphere down here of people using their eclipse glasses properly, just staring at the eclipse for a little while and then taking them off, doing as we were told to do to be able to enjoy the eclipse to its full effect. And I'm now joined by, as you mentioned, an astronomer and also an enthusiast of this, Richard Pitaluga. Richard, what did you make of it today?
Oh, this is absolutely amazing. You can see that people really have a buzz for a longing to see this kind of stuff. Astronomy is an incredible hobby. And one very important thing to note is that we are very quickly losing our night sky. There are very few dark places in Gibraltar, and I would urge government to take a serious view into protecting the very few dark areas we have left. At one time, you could just look up in the evening from right here, and you could see the Milky Way, you could see the stars, planets, you could see an incredible amount of stuff from right here. But these days, everything is totally lit up, in many cases unnecessarily. And we are losing that touch and so we're losing the contact with our natural worlds, and that is a real shame. I think we could lobby, try to save the little we have left.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about your equipment because we walked up to you just now and you have been observing it but also kind of documenting it. So what have you been doing today then?
Right. I've got the best gear. As far as I know in Gibraltar, I have look at you. Yeah. I have a Seastar Smart Telescope, which will actually track and video the sun. Right. I have Eclipse glasses, homemade. Right. I prefer them homemade rather than the cardboard, the ones that